So Deep Rock Galactic has officially been out for over 3 years now, and there have been many things added to the game since then. Some that players have loved and others that have been polarizing to say the least. But is there anything else that could be added to the game that could help it elevate to the next level? Well, I think so, and that's what we're going to talk about today. What's up guys, Jay here, and in today's video I'm going to be giving my thoughts and ideas for what I want to see added into Deep Rock Galactic in the future. Now don't get me wrong, the game is still fun to play, and it certainly has come a long way from what we saw in its initial early access. And while content is continually being added into the game, it's obvious that this most recent season has been, well, talkative to say the least. But there will be more seasons after this one, and I want to give my ideas for additions to the game that could come in Season 5 and beyond. Just a disclaimer that these are just my personal opinions on additions to the game, and by no means does it mean they have to do any of these things. With that said, if you guys are ready, I got 10 ideas for things that could be added into DRG to help elevate the game to the next level. By the way, if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, that way you never miss another upload. So the first thing that comes to mind, to me at least, to add new ways to play is new mission types. Adding new mission types to the game is the most obvious and simple way to add more levels of gameplay. We haven't had a new mission type added since all the way back in Season 1 with the Industrial Sabotage, which still to this day remains my favorite mission type by far. Now I know it's much easier said than done, and making an entirely new mission type requires a lot of playtesting and balancing and other things that I have no idea how to manage. But it's been proven that the devs can do it, and they have so many different options for things that they could add. I've said several times on the channel so far that I would love to have some kind of massive Glyphid Queen boss mission, where it's like the Industrial Sabotage, but instead of rival mechs, it's like a giant bug matriarch. But they could do other things like more missions surrounding the rival company, like a rival mining outpost or something. Heck, what they could even do if they wanted was to turn the Lithophage Hazard Mutator into a completely separate mission type on its own, so they can keep that feature in the game and have it in a more simple way to the players. It could be a little weird, but it's an idea that they could do. But in essence, more missions would be the simplest way to give us more content to enjoy. On that note, another thing that would help add new levels of gameplay is more new mutators. Mutators are, for the most part, interesting and fun ways to add extra layers of challenge or enjoyment to the missions. Having more mutators would help the randomness of the missions feel even more potent. One that I personally would love to see is a lights out mutator, where for some reason your flares are not working, and all you have is your headlamp and anything that gives off natural light. It's terrifying and would help intensify the feel of claustrophobia and isolation in the caves. You could also add other ones that might be a lot simpler. One idea that I saw online that caught my attention was radio interference, in which mission control can't give you messages warning you about swarms or anything like that, which could be cool, if not also terrifying. Of course, you could also add some anomalies that help the players, like say extra red sugar spawns, or maybe more powerful flares for brighter illumination. The point is, I think more mutators are a good way to add more interesting mission diversity, and would be a welcome addition. Along those same lines, something else that could be added in could be more biomes to explore. Now I know this one's probably stretching a bit, but I think some new locales would be nice to see on Hoxas. I know people have thrown the idea around about an underwater biome, and that would be cool, but I think it would require some insane changes to the game that would make it a little too hard to handle. I personally was thinking more something like a swampy or mire type location, similar to the fungus bogs, but somehow different. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but it's something reminiscent of like the Florida Everglades in America to an extent. Or another idea, and I'm not really sure how they would do this, but maybe some kind of alpine woodland type biome, like rocky mountains, tall trees, sort of rustic forest kind of feel to it. I'm not sure how they would work trees into the picture, but I'm sure they would find a way to do it. The point is that more locations would give us more variety in our missions, and as such, more enjoyment. And something that can make those biomes even more interesting is more dynamic cave systems. So we've gotten updates to the cave layout several times at this point, and honestly the caves have never felt better. But call me selfish because I still think we can get more. Now this doesn't mean a full cave rework or anything like that, but some things could be added in to make the caves feel more immersive. For example, maybe a feature where random cave-ins happen and pathways get blocked off, and you either have to cut your way through or readjust your path. Little things like that can go a long way towards making the caves feel more alive. An ambitious idea that I have is to maybe have caves that link biomes together. Like you're in the crystalline caverns minding your own business, and then you cut through a wall, and then boom, Azure Wheeled. This is probably getting a little too ambitious, but hey, I can still dream, and I still think it would be a really cool idea. Something else that was done recently that I think could be further improved is the addition of new enemy types for us to fight. Season 4 brought us the Stingtail and Septic Spreader enemies, and whether you love them or hate them, which a lot of people do hate them, they definitely shake up enemy encounters one way or another. Adding new enemies helps change up combat and give us more ways to specialize our builds to handle different threats. They already kinda gave us new creatures, just not actually in the game yet. In the board game for Deep Rock Galactic, there is a unique enemy known as the Rammer that came with one of the recent expansions. I think seeing this in the video game would be really cool, and I hope that they are hinting at it coming to the main game soon. Another idea, and this is more of a mission update, but I think it would be cool to see more Dreadnought variations added to the game. Right now we only have 3, which is fine, but I think having a few more would help change up elimination missions a bit. Here, I'll give you some nightmare fuel to think about. A Dreadnought Stingtail. Now if that's not scary, then I don't know what is. With all these things that they could be adding into the game, they also need to give us more ways to improve ourselves as players, right? Well, one way they can do that is to give us a reworked perk system. I have been saying this for a while now, and I stand by the claim that we need a new perk system. The perks on their own are fine, but the whole system is not quite as intuitive as I think it can be. Let me know in the comments exactly how many extra perk points you have that you just can't spend on anything because you have all the perks maxed out. There needs to be either more perks to use or more intricate ways to upgrade perks that we have, or maybe both. Maybe there are some ways to modify or specialize perks to a higher degree. Either way, the point is the perk system needs to be updated badly, and hopefully that is coming sometime soon. Another thing that could be added in that certainly nobody would get upset about is expanded character customization. Everybody likes fashion, and everybody likes to give their dwarves as much drip as humanly possible. Or, I guess, dwarfly possible. Giving us more ways to customize our character would be very well received. One way that could work is to give us modular suit customization similar to games like Halo or Destiny. So you'd be able to change your arms, legs, body, head, maybe even shoulders, all independently of each other. They gave us the ability to take off sleeves on our armor, so they do have the ability to isolate individual pieces, and maybe they could give us the ability to use that feature. Also, I like the idea of maybe a back slot for customization. This would be hard on the gunner and driller since they already have a lot of stuff on their backs, but maybe they could work around it. One last idea I had, again looking at the board game, is the scout player piece has his pickaxe holstered on his back, and I really like the idea of having our pickaxe visibly on our person so that it doesn't look like we're just pulling it out of nothing. These changes are not super needed, but it would be a cool thing to see. Something I think the veteran players would like to see is an expansion to the endgame content. Deep dives are fun and all, but the pool of objectives and secondary objectives that they have now can cause some very repetitive and predictable deep dives. Adding more ways to shake up the deep dives might go a long way in terms of making them more enjoyable. Also, perhaps some more repeatable weekly assignments would be welcome as well. Only having 2 and being able to complete them relatively quickly does not leave so much to do once you reach the endgame. Maybe even just some more player rank milestone assignments would be a good idea too. Just more things to do in the endgame in general would be a welcome addition. This next one is more of a personal thing, but I want to see more fun stuff to do in the space rig. So I don't know about you guys, but my play group has this really bad habit of people going AFK one after the other in a chain where I'm just waiting forever for them to get back. And I can only kick so many barrels and try to beat my jetty boot record so many times before the existentialism of being in liminal purgatory starts to set in and I start to drift into a sense of emptiness. So having more cool stuff to do or even see in the space rig would be really interesting. Maybe like another arcade station or a skee ball or dartboard would be nice. Just more places to do some casual fun stuff to help break up the time between missions while you wait for your friend who has been in the bathroom for 45 minutes. Anyway, the last and most important thing that I think should be added into Deep Rock Galactic is cross-platform play. Now, I know that this is a big task and I know that it is a difficult thing to achieve, but I also know that it is not impossible and other games have done this in the past. Now, I'm not an expert in game development or networking or anything like that, but one thing I do understand is that the most powerful thing you can do for your game is to allow your entire player base to be able to play together, and adding cross-platform play would be probably the greatest thing that they could add to the game. Again, I'm not sure how plausible or difficult something like that could be, but if they can manage to pull it off, it will set DRG on a higher level than it has ever been before. So there you have it, my ideas for 10 exciting additions that could be added to Deep Rock Galactic. What do you guys think? I could have gone on more about things like weapons, equipment, overclocks, but I didn't want this video to be too long, and most people already agree that those kinds of features would be great anyway. If you guys have any ideas on what you think should be added into the game, let me know down in the comments. Anyway, I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please be sure to give it a like because it tells me what types of videos you guys want to see. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.